Yo, what up? I just saw a video. Actually, a couple. Like sometimes I like to watch, you know, interviews with people to get inspiration. So I just saw a Terrence J interview, and I saw who was the other Money and Balance. They were on a Breakfast Club, and Terrence J was up there talking, and he said a couple of things that kind of spoke to me. And I wish I could remember exactly what. So you gotta take notes. But basically, I'll start with Money and Balance because Rafe or Moses, I guess his real name, he always talks about like investing in yourself, believing in yourself, and how when they got money from I guess Tidal or Lionsgate or whoever they're working with now, like they invested all the money back into the show, which makes sense. Like I'm learning about real estate investing and stuff like that, and basically is don't spend the money. And shout out to Jay Morrison, he always says in his Wealth DNA, he says celebrating is for suckers. Like a lot of times we get a little win and we want to celebrate. Let's go celebrate, basically. He's like, habits of wealthy people, they don't do that. They get a little win, they just keep grinding. So basically, when you buy, let's say you make money in your first house, you don't go to the club or go buy whatever, go buy 38 iPhones just because you put that money into another investment property. And then you want to have reserves just in case anything goes wrong. That's good business. You always want to have reserves. You don't want to basically. And he also says, Jay Morrison, that wealth doesn't have a look. It's not about the Lambo. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's about your assets. How many assets you have versus liabilities and all that. So basically, you want to reinvest into yourself, which shouldn't be that hard. I guess it depends on what you're doing. Because if you're doing something to make money, I guess it could be harder to reinvest back into that business. But if you're doing something like Moses and Money and Violence, it's like probably wasn't even that hard of a decision for him to reinvest into the show because he said he didn't do it for money. He did it because he felt there was a voice lacking in the community. Basically, like he didn't have there was no OGs for these young kids running around doing all types of wild stuff like he had. So he wanted to create this show to give them some of that, gangster money, like that feel of like, oh, this is hood shit, but it's really slipping nuggets into their, into it, which is basically life. Like one thing I realized is people say I'm spiritual, I'm not spiritual. Spirituality is in everything. Like obviously that's obvious, right? But you wouldn't think like some hood like whatever has spirituality into it. But everything has spirituality to it if you just look at it, you know. And I'm not saying I figured it all out. I could see that this has spirituality. If you look at, you know, uh, um, Jay Z versus the Dalai Lama, like they're the same. Like if you just look at like let's take Kanye for example. This is like a going off on a side tangent, but Kanye, if you watch his interviews, he's trying to use fashion and art as like a way to uplift. That's if you act, that's probably his main focus and his goal. From what I got, if you watch his like Twitter rants and stuff like that, you probably won't get the nuance in it. But if you watch a few of his interviews, like Zane Lowe and Ellen, even like or a lot of his interviews, he speaks about just he wants to use art, and that's one thing I've realized. I'm kind of going off on like a little blog tangent, but whatever. Um, I'm just speaking my mind. So, he just using what he believes to make the world better. And I mean, we all have that in us. Like whatever it is. Like for me, I just believe we all. It's kind of evolved through the years, but ultimately, you know, we all have a unique gift that a talent that I believe we want to share with the world, but we just don't because of numerous reasons. Family, money, society, a lot of reasons why we don't do it. But eventually, I think we'll get more into it. But now I'm kind of more. I'm kind of more financial. Like, let's, especially for the black community, word to shout out to Jay Morrison, because he was like, he's the one who put me on in terms of the black wealth gap. Is white families, the median white family has 13 times as much wealth as the median black family, where black families is about 6,800, 6,700, and white families is 91,000. This is crazy. So is that due to systemic racism? Is that due to this or that or whatever? It doesn't matter really. I mean, it does matter, yes, but it has to change. So now I'm like, we need to get this money. I need to put my people on. I need to educate, but like put them onto the game. I learned a few things about real estate. I learned a few things about just a few things. So I mean, I don't know everything. I'm still learning, but I'm trying to learn more so I can put people on. And at one point, I was afraid to put people on because I think it wasn't enough for me. But I can't live like that. I can't think like that. I gotta just put people on because what? First of all, I don't really need much, but that's not even the point. The point is, I can't worry about that because that's selfish. Because I'm still in that competition mindset. Like, oh, if they get, then I won't get. But it's not true. That's not true. And if that's the case, I'm cool. I don't need much. I just need I don't really need much at all, man. I just need my health, man. I work out. I go on the beach. I eat a coconut, and I'll be alright. So, but still, so that's why I'm like pushing to share more, and it's a long kind of like turn into like a blog, whatever. But the purpose of the video was to speak on reinvesting in yourself, believing in yourself, celebrating is for suckers. Shout out to Jay Morrison, and being frugal is another one that he says is very important. Like, wealthy people never say only in front of money. Like, it's only $2, only $5. Like that, only 2, 5, 10, 20 adds up to 1,000 that you could have put down on a house as your first investment, or you could have put down on anything as a first investment. If you're a truck driver, you could have put that down on a truck to eventually grow your trucking business or whatever, or you could have put that down on a new SDLR camera or whatever how you say it, a 7D or a 5D. Like, we got to think more. First we have to find what we want to do or what we love to do, and I would say meditation is the way that I've seen that works. Not, well, other ways maybe work, but I've seen that spending time by yourself, being quiet, cutting out distractions, it works. It's helped me numerous times. One time where I was lost, and I wasn't really lost, but I was just like living a lot of work. One day I'll tell my whole life story, but I was just not feeling like I was alive. Like, I felt like I was living a lie working at some retail job. And then I was watching this video by Dan, the Life Regenerator. And he said, if you don't know what your life purpose is, your purpose is to ask what your purpose is. And I was like, word, I'm about to do that. So that's what I did for 2 years straight. Not 2 weeks straight. I usually would go home and on my way home listen to music on my headphones or like whatever. Like instead I cut that out. I just sat there in silence and just sat there and kept asking myself, what am I here to do? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Stuff like that, questions like that. Just not out loud, but in my head. And then eventually, it was a long story, but eventually I quit, and then I had a great experience. I moved to a farm. It's a long story, but it worked, And then recently with my OCD, this is crazy. Like I was in I still sometimes get super anxious and anxiety, but I'm way better than I was, because before I was super OCD, super crazy. Oh my goodness, like it's a long story, but I'm talking, I used to get on the bus, get off the bus, get on the bus. I watch my other videos, I kind of go through it. My other video on my OCD. But basically, like this November, sometime in November, I just decided like, I gotta do something, like, because in the back of my mind, I was taking medication, stuff. In the back of my mind, like, I know, meditation is probably the way, or probably a way, cutting out distractions, because that's gotta be a way. Because I always felt that I couldn't tell somebody else that, I couldn't just tell somebody to take this or do this. I had to be something free, essentially. And So I said, I can't live my life this way anymore, and I started cutting out distractions. Give myself meditation. Of course, shout out to Russell Simmons. He said 20 minutes a day. And then I read something that says if you don't have 20 minutes a day to meditate, you got to meditate for an hour. So, of course, me being an extremist, having like extremist personality, I'm meditating for 2 hours. Why not? So it kind of went from like 2 hours to 1 hour. Basically, I just put more time. I used to bring my phone. Basically, it started off with like 1 hour a day, basically. I dedicated myself to that. And then eventually, like a month later, it went to like early bedtimes. I'm going to bed at 10:30 every night. And no, I used to listen to podcasts, while I was going to sleep and all that. I cut all that out. I'm just going to sleep. Because I used to be afraid of what, quote unquote, the voice of, quote unquote, I used to be afraid of what might happen. What am I think of? What I may have to do next? Because that's one thing I was afraid of with the OCD, like what I have to do next. So what I did was I cut distractions at night, and that's early bedtimes, 10:30. I've been consistent since November, more or less. One day here and there, I got family, sister, whatever. It's all good, but more or less, you want to be consistent with it, and it's like all little things add up to who you are now. This one woman on YouTube was like, "You have to make the commitment to it." I said, "How long?" I asked her a question, and she was like, "You just have to commit to it. You just have to commit to it. You can't ask how long it's going to take. You can't just. You have to believe. You have to just do it." So that's what I did. And that was November, December-ish, and I've been consistent. I've been getting better, and that has. And then I used to bring my phone in the bathroom with me. And that's one thing I used to do, just distract myself. Now I don't do that anymore. I just go in the bathroom and sit there, for 1 hour, 2 hours. That's my meditation time. I don't close my eyes or do the whole thing. Some people do. Today I kind of did something like that. I was just tired. I like the itis. But I was like, I didn't want to lay down. I was like, let me sit in the chair and just, whatever. So you could like, whatever. Basically, I believe the meditation is about cutting distractions out. Ultimately being by yourself. That's maybe I don't have all the. I know I don't have all the meditation answers and scientific and all that, but for me, what I like to let people know or tell people what they could do is just be by yourself. Anytime that you would distract yourself by watching TV or listen to a podcast or be on YouTube, watching YouTube videos or something, whatever, just be quiet. Don't do anything. Just sit there. In the bathroom, if you bring your phone in your bathroom, don't bring your phone in the bathroom. If you listen to music while you're driving home, don't listen to music. Or on the bus, don't listen to music. Just sit there. And eventually your mind will start working again. You used to be afraid of what might come up, but you'll start to work through those issues. You'll start to figure stuff out. Like, oh my goodness, my mind is working. Like I can figure this out. I get it. I know what to do, or I know how to manage things. Like, I'm not afraid. Basically, I was afraid. I was afraid of the quiet because things come up, things you might have to deal with, and everything's gonna be all right. Like, nothing is that serious. Like, it's okay. Like, you will, whatever your situation is, only you have the answer to it, more or less, or you'll know how to get to the answer. But you have to spend that quiet. I believe you have to spend. We have to spend that quiet time and make meditation a daily part of our. Like, commit to it. So, and not not like that, but just like quiet time, spending time by yourself is and cutting out distractions. I think that may have to be a long term goal of mine because I had to be humbled in a sense. Like, it's going into my story a little bit, but I had like an enlightening experience or whatever you want to call it. I didn't know what it was, but I felt great, and I didn't need to meditate. I was like, people meditating. I was like, what's the point? And then David Wolf was like, kind of reinforced that notion, like, meditate. I'm not gonna go in a closet and meditate. He said, "I work in my meditation," which is true. Which is true. Is I guess you could evolve into that state. Even David Wilcock speaks of this, where you don't even need to meditate anymore per se. You just are your meditation. You just walking through life as a meditation. And I'm guessing your life purpose or doing what you love to do has a lot to do with that. So, this kind of video went all over the place, but ultimately it's about believing in yourself. Trusting yourself is key. That's so major. Trust yourself, man. Trust yourself. Only you know. Trust yourself. If you meditated on it, if you feel it, because I was gonna cut my hair. It's a long time ago. I was afraid to cut my hair. Afraid to. I had like hair up to here, you know, and and I would keep it on, but it's like half shaved, and I'm trying different things, so I keep it covered for now. But basically, I was tired of the hair, so I just said I'm cutting. I know it's a long commitment, but then I did the mental meditation. I was like, you know what? It was kind of too long after 2 years. If worst come to worst, after I grow it back for a year. Worst come to worst, who cares? But I can't. I'm not washing this thing again. Basically, that's what it came down to. I'm not washing it. I'm done. So, um, yeah. And then I'm happy with my decision. I'm happy that I cut it. It's less maintenance for me. So basically that goes with for anybody out there, whoever you're thinking about. If you meditated on it, if you were quiet about it, you spent some quiet time, do it. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is. Maybe to quit your job, maybe to get a new job, maybe to whatever. You'll feel it. You'll feel good about your decision ultimately, or you just be relieved. And you may go back and have a little bit of trepidation or whatever, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. If you know you thought about it and you know you were okay with it at the time, F it. It's all right. Hair grows back if worst comes to worst, or you'll get another job. Trust me. I thought it was over when I lost my TSA job. I mean, I thought I didn't really think it was over, but it was like, damn, I was because this one guy. It's kind of getting personal, but I'll say it. So he's coming through the mag like we work at the airport. Like you stand there, people come through. You say go this way, go that way, whatever. He's coming in. He says something like, "This is the only job you get with a high school diploma." And I was like, damn, like he really hit me kind of hard in the heart, like close, like he went into like he just went direct. I'm like, damn, like why you have to say that? Like, cause I'm black, or whatever. But nah, cause it was just like he went, he went, hit me hard, and that hurt. Cause it's like I know that job was like a high school job, but you could make $18 an hour or whatever. So that hurt. So I was always afraid to lose that job. I'm afraid to lose a government job, whatever. But there's so many opportunities out there. I'm realizing and learning, like now with Uber and even truck driving has been out, and just believing in yourself and believing that you're here for a reason, and all the success stories that you hear. And I have a family that loves me, so I'm not gonna be homeless. Thank God, So you know, basically things will work out. So that's my point is like things worked out from that point. I got another job. I started working at Whole Foods. I found a farm. I met great friends. Like things worked out. So don't worry about what society says, especially. Don't worry about what you've heard. Don't worry about anything like that. Just trust yourself, man. Like I said, spend that quiet time and cut out distractions and be with yourself and you'll figure it out. That's it. All right. Peace.